morning, everyone.
Morning, sir.
How are you all? Good. So, firstly, welcome to Insights IAS. Okay. I'm sure you have read about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Everyone. ಓದಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ಲ? How many of you are non-Kannadigas here? One. Okay. But everybody knows about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. So, what do you know about him? Father of Indian Constitution. Okay. Yes. What else you know about Dr. B.R. Ambedkar? ಇಲ್ಲ ತುಂಬಾ ತಿಳ್ಕೊಂಡಿದ್ದೀರಲ್ವಾ? Right. He was against untouchability. Okay, good. Then, so he also fought for the upliftment of the minorities as well as women also. So he was actually the first feminist that India had, in fact, in the world also. He was the most educated person. Yes, more educated than the most educated people, who claimed that they were most educated. So he had a degree from Elphinstone College, Mumbai, and then he went to Columbia University. He did a PhD in economics, and then from London School of Economics, he also did a doctorate of science in economics, and then he was a barrister. There is something called the Grey Seal. It's very famous in England. Those who practiced law there went on to become the greatest advocates or judges. Okay, good. What else? I know you are wondering like why this orientation is starting with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. No, I am not your polity or history teacher here. Anything else? Good. You have contributed so far very good points. Okay. So the reason usually I don't start with any story or any individual. All my orientation usually starts with a question. How many of you wants to become IAS, IPS, or Indian Foreign Service? So that is a usual question that I ask. But while coming in the car today, suddenly I was thinking, no. So this year, I mean, for this batch, the orientation should start with something else. So then suddenly I remembered Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. Past 2 years I've been reading so much about him. And why I wanted to start with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. See, whenever you read about him or whenever you read his own works, you talked about untouchability. So there is a book, Annihilation of Caste. So it's a very famous, influential book, right? It was supposed to be a speech, and then he printed it as a book, and then it got sold out in all the languages, and even today it remains one of the most influential books. Annihilation of Caste. Annihilation means total destruction, annihilation, right? So in this field I have been there for 12 years in offline mode. I've been guiding students, mentoring them, and I can claim that I've been instrumental in directly in helping many get top ranks in this examination, and built a very solid team which is professionally conducting classes, mentoring students. We have been at the forefront in Karnataka, especially in South India. But the kind of students we are getting, they come from every kind of socio-economic background. And whenever admissions are going on, during the admissions, I see students coming from extreme poverty, somebody who has lost both the parents, somebody who has only a single parent, somebody who is working as a housemaid or laborer in someone else's field, and then children of drivers. At the same time, you also have children from a very good background, children of officials, children of good business people. And also there is another socio-economic angle here. Some of them have studied and passed out from very good universities, topmost institutions in India, and also from our government first grade colleges and some totally unknown institutions. Those do not have any kind of identity. And some of you also from Kannada medium. Now, when you came to Bangalore, when you have come to Bangalore, so what drove you to Bangalore? Those who came, outside from Bangalore. This is the dream of getting into civil services to become an IAS officer, IPS. Some of you, one or two, maybe Indian Foreign Service. Anyone? IFS? Good. Three. Good. So, some of you also want to become diplomats, right? So, this is a very big dream in the Indian context currently to become an IAS, IPS, or IFS is ambitious goal. Now, when you think of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, right, he didn't want to become a civil servant. He didn't start out with a dream of becoming a civil servant or a politician or a reformer, right, or a law minister. He later on became law minister or to create constitution for India. So, if you look at his life very closely, so it was a life of self empowerment, right, to escape from all kinds of discriminations, especially from the caste discrimination and caste oppression. While trying to escape, he found that the only way to escape from such kind of oppression or discrimination was to educate himself, acquire immense knowledge, and apply that knowledge in the real world, in the real physical world, to create awareness, to create the fighting spirit in the people, as well as uplift all the marginalized people, as she said, including minorities, women, OBCs, obviously the SC communities, right? So, in this process, despite all the odds, so he belonged to a Mahar community. So, he was born in Mhow, MHOW, it is currently in Madhya Pradesh, and they were untouchables. So, untouchable. At that point of time, they were not allowed to sit in a classroom like this, right, anywhere near any of the students. He was sitting, you have seen the serial and all, I think. Goni Chila ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತೀವಿ, right? Gunny bag. So he had to carry that every day, sit in remote corner with all the disadvantages, with all the odds against him. He was able to excel in studies. He didn't come with any kind of advantage, any kind of you know uh, advantage in the sense that some people will have advantage, as I talked about. Their parents were better educated, they had got better resources, right? So coming from a disadvantageous background, he was able to not only excel, his teachers noticed, the society noticed, the rulers of the principality noticed. They helped him go to Columbia, they helped him go to London School of Economics, right? But in this 12 years of journey, majority of the UPSC aspirants who come here, right, they have this dependency syndrome. You want to be spoon fed, right? You want to be handheld, you want to be supported in every step, right? You want to achieve everything from the comfort zone. You want AC libraries, AC classrooms, comfortable room, right? Accommodation, very good PG, right? PG with all good food, everything. So there is nothing wrong in aspiring for all these things because we can afford to get them nowadays, and we live in a free country, and in a free country, right, it is the least that we must expect. But despite having everything at your disposal, what I see is that lack of the fighting spirit, the determination in majority of the aspirants. Most of them, right, after 1 year or 2 years into this preparation, they start losing steam, that inner motivation, start getting self-doubt, comparisons, and then that the dream of IAS, IPS starts wilting away, right? Within your mind, that dream is downgraded to any government job, after like 2 to 3 years. IAS is downgrade to any government job. Initially maybe KPSC, but KPSC there is no hope. They don't conduct exams regularly, and that institution doesn't exist, right? The structure is that building. There is nothing in it. It's an empty shell. So you can't expect to be a KS officer, right? There is no hope. And then you just want to get into any government job because after 2 years you are expected to work, earn, right? And even though you are not expected to earn, you have this self expectation, right? To be employed, because to be employed is a social status. To be employed gives you some kind of satisfaction. So, in this field, especially when you've chosen civil services, right? The single most quality that I've observed, which helps in succeeding in this examination, is not how much amount of knowledge you accumulate, right? Your ability to withstand all the adversities for the long duration of time, right? Without losing your focus and inner motivation. If you somehow can do this in this field, right, you are already in the top 2%. You have to be in the top 0.04%, but you are already in the top 2% despite being a stupid guy. I mean it. If you lack communication skill, if you lack lots of knowledge, but somehow if you can withstand, eventually you can acquire everything, right? Knowledge, communication skill, good writing skill, good essay writing skill, everything can be everything can be acquired. So everything can be improved. I have seen purely Kannada medium student starting with a very bad essay, no grammar, no spellings, no structure, no content, then going on to score second highest marks in the essay paper within 2 years, and then getting into IAS, right? Currently serving as DM in Andhra Pradesh, one of the OGP students, a doctor, right? So I have seen the transformation, but the transformation can happen only there is, toughness, a stubborn attitude within you, not to buckle under any kind of pressure, not to yield to any kind of expectations. Somehow, if you can withstand, right? We are here. Everything is at your disposal to help you sail through this examination. Because even like last week also, one of our student from OGP, he cracked this examination. He's currently an IAS officer undergoing training in UP. So somebody approached him, family friend, said that my son has completed coaching from a topmost institution in Delhi. It has been 2 years. So now he is kind of clueless. He has come back to Bangalore. So he needs a personal mentorship or guidance. So this topper of ours, who was mentored by us, so he sent him to us. And then I usually ask, I find some kind of, you can say sadism also, right? I ask this question. So you have been in Delhi for 2 years. How many essays you have written? He said zero. Okay, how many answers you have written? So he said maybe 10, 15, right? And in front of him, the freshly minted OGP student was there, like batch 8 student. And she had brought her second essay for evaluation. I said she has enrolled last month and she has already written 2 essays. And every day she has written answers, right? Nearly like 15, 20. And weekly test, right? 10 questions. She might have answered 3, 4 questions in them, right? So here is a setup, here is a facility where we keep on pushing you, right? Because you don't have exposure to that reality, right? What is happening in Delhi. Some people don't appreciate actually what is happening here. To know the worth of something, right? You should have been through the hell, right? Somewhere else. So then you would realize, oh, this is what happens here, right? So that is the kind of exclamatory reaction we get sometimes with people who have been there, because the UPSC preparation, what it expects from you is, as I said, the transformation within you, but the transformation, there is a way forward. There are means, there are tools which you should use to transform yourself. One is within the ecosystem of the institution, one other is the outside the ecosystem of the institution. What is more important is the outside the institution, right? So within the institution, eventually we'll take care. So the tests are conducted, classes are conducted. We somehow motivate you to meet mentor, get your answers evaluated. So whenever I sit in my chamber, some people are, I see that some few people are showing the essay, and the word spreads that Vinay Sir is evaluating essay. Somebody who has been absent for 1 year suddenly appears with an essay. Now they are motivated, right? He is evaluating, so I should bring my essay. So he or she will go and tell their friends, they will again bring. It has a cascading impact. So people keep coming. I see new faces regularly. And you people, as somebody who is freshly part of this institution, within the institution, this process will go on. Even if you're not motivated in the beginning phase, eventually after 1 or 2 months, you will feel motivated. So there is always someone, right, within a reaching distance, right, that accessibility is there where you can come and meet and show your answers. But once you are out of this institution, in the sense you walk out of the classroom, you go to your room, right? So we don't know who you are, what you are going to do, right? And we are not a typical educational institution where we can monitor your activity, right? Uh, you know, impose some kind of self-discipline on you. All of you are adults. So that is the beauty of this examination. Here it is a self-accountability, right? That self-discipline should be born out of your own realization, your own inner awareness. We cannot impose it on you, right? It is very difficult. I haven't tried, I will not try that also, right? I believe that you have to fail multiple times, right? Come and talk to us, have conversation. Through that, realize that, right, this is journey, which is which has these pitfalls, which are inevitable, and somehow there is a way forward for you to come out of this mess, right? And then you have to continue. But that realization has to happen within the four walls where you live, right? When you walk out in the street to have a cup of coffee, or to have breakfast wherever you are. So somehow in your very thinking, in your very attitude, the way you behave with the people, somehow if you rewire yourself to be a civil servant, right? That attitude, that thinking. When I say thinking, the thinking should be mature, right? Your conversation should not be about people. It should be about issues. It should be about ideas, right? There are so many issues happening around. Caste census, you can discuss. Don't blame individuals. Discuss about the merits or demerits of the census. Now, don't blame the government, right? Discuss about the merits and demerits, right? So, we have this tendency to blame an individual or blame any institution, right? So, the moment you are doing that, you should know that it is not officer like, or it is not like any educated individual like, right? And at the same time, when you go back from the classroom to your room, right, whether your house or PG room, there, there you have to, because nobody is going to, kutki mel kai ittu, ಅದ್ಯಾರು your parents don't have any idea about what you are doing here, right? That gives you sense of freedom actually, right? But that freedom must be utilized for the right purpose, right? That when I say right purpose, there are two right purposes. One is definitely pursue extracurricular hobbies or interests using that freedom, because when you are in an university, college, somewhere, maybe you might not have had that freedom, but here you have the freedom, but that should be limited, like reading novel, you know I keep telling, and I have made it mainstream that pursuing hobbies, interests, any extracurricular activities is must. Right? If you want to develop focus, if you want to develop concentration, and if you want to stay sane, stay sane ಅಂದ್ರೆ ನಿಮ್ಮನ್ನೇ ಹುಚ್ಚಾಗದನ್ನು ತಪ್ಪಿಸ್ಕೋಬೇಕು ಅನ್ನೋದಾದ್ರೆ ರೈಟ್ ಟು ರಿಮೈನ್ ಸೇನ್ ಮೀನ್ಸ್ ಟು ರಿಮೈನ್ mentally stable. So you must develop hobbies and interest in something unrelated to your academics or even UPSC civil services. That is must. Playing chess, maybe playing football, cricket now and then, watching good movies, right? Going to theater and watching theater, visiting literary fests, right? So these kind of activities must. Reading literature, non-fiction, fiction, anything. This is must. At least half an hour every day, 2-3 hours in a week is must. So second is right the way you utilize the institution when once you walk out. So here we teach, here we make you write answers, but once you go to your room, you have to be ambitious. Ambition is not merely dreaming about becoming an IAS. It is in the small things you do every day, right? Something you are not doing before. Something you are not doing, before coming here. So adding that extra effort, right? Little extra effort on a daily basis. That is what will take you. That is what will actually help you realize your dream, make it reality, right? What I mean is that you haven't written answer so far, anyone. So we will make you write one answer in the classroom, and then when you go back to your room, you must voluntarily pick up a PYQ or any other related question. Try to write another extra answer voluntarily. It is that extra effort, right? Eventually, which gets accumulated, right? That incremental effort, that is what brings the transformation within you, right? So one answer you write and then you fail, you write bad answer, and to write one answer it will take 2 hours, 3 hours for you, because you have to gather knowledge, you have to understand concepts, right? You have to understand the question, and this is totally new to you. You haven't done this before. So if you do it once, even imperfectly, right, you have to derive satisfaction out of it, and then come and show to mentors, and then you have to repeat it again. So once you start doing it, after a few days, after a few months, you will grow more ambitious. So writing one answer now will take 15-20 minutes, right? You can add one more answer, you can add two more answers. So this attitude I have seen in most of the toppers. So we have one initiative called Secure Initiative on our website, and people like Srushti Deshmukh, there is one girl Anu Kumari who got second rank, and there have been Artika Shukla, she got fourth rank, and even the recent toppers. And we had this YouTube podcast with Srishti Mishra recently. She got All India rank 95. She was mentoring students here till last week. So she also said that she used to write 4 to 6 answers every day using our Secure Initiative on a daily basis. And people like Srushti Deshmukh, she would visit our website and write 6 to 8 answers every day. So this was mostly after they completed the coaching, right, from somewhere else. So they started relying on the website, reading current affairs, solving quiz. Ours is the most visited website for UPSC civil services preparation, those who want to do self-study. So if you ask ChatGPT which is the best website for UPSC IAS exam preparation, even now you can try. Insights IAS is the one which comes in the top. So you have that website where you can choose 1 or 2 questions, you can answer, and then very next day you can come and meet your mentor to show your answer. So that ambition should go on, growing, increasing, rather than getting affected by self-doubt. So this self-doubt creeps in only when you actually don't put these extra efforts, right? Don't try to apply what you are learning in the classroom. And some of you, because of your not so good background, in the beginning will struggle a lot. Struggle in understanding the concepts, right? Struggle in finishing the chapter, right? So you will take more time, extra time to complete the chapter. some of you will be very fearful of writing something because you haven't done that before, right? These are all the problems almost majority of the students face here, but that is why I started with Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, right? So he should be your single most source of inspiration. For me, he is the inspiration currently, right? The reason, you know, you have lots of freedom today, right? You have access to lots of resources. Everything is at your disposal. Now, with his inspiration, if you want to really rise, right, and irrespective of whichever socio-economic background you come from, it is all about, the power within you, right? It is nothing external here. I can humiliate you. Like if you come to show essay, I can just throw it on your face, and I can make you stand. Right? That doesn't work with Gen Z, with you people, right? You will throw it back on my face, right? Now that humiliation doesn't work to motivate you. There was a time, humiliate you, and then you would get motivation, and then you will emerge stronger. Yeah, this is not that generation, right? If we humiliate you, you will leave the institution, right? So, and you will give one star, right, somewhere, and then you will write first answer. You will write there, right? Huh? So that inner motivation, from where will you get it? The source can be your own poverty, or your own parents' struggles or anything. But again, that is also not long lasting as far I have seen here, because here you have created a different comfort zone, right? You're not in that situation where daily you are witnessing, experiencing that, right? So when you distance yourself, right? So then again you lose that motivation. That will also not be impactful. It must come from inner desire to create or carve out your own identity, a new identity, right? That identity that is going to be more impactful, significant, right, for the country, for the society. So that inner ambition should be the real, driver, or what? So something impetus, we say, that gives to your inner motivation. So that I believe is lacking in most of the students, because getting IAS itself is the major achievement. Many people think that achieving IAS is the end of their dream. I mean, that is the ultimate goal. Officials from Kerala and Tamil Nadu, so they have that strong culture there. But for some reason in Karnataka, since the IT boom, right? So it destroyed that kind of aspiration. And even if you go to Kalyana, Karnataka, even now people want to become PSI, any government job, right? So IAS should be your ultimate, and you can be totally assured you are bound to get some government job when you take coaching from inside IAS. It can be anything. There are so many people who are there in PSI, so many government jobs, and I keep telling them, why did you get into that? They are stuck forever, right? So we don't have this risk appetite. We don't take risk. Once we settle with a job, we are very happy with the job, whether it is teacher, PSI, PDO. So we don't take risk. And there are so many talented people, because of circumstances, they get into some job and then they continue there forever. Just imagine, let us say you write PSI exam, you get into PSI, and it doesn't take, I mean, even during your retirement, you cannot be IPS when you join as PSI, right? So 30, 40 years you work, you can never be IPS. And let us say you have enough talent to crack PSI, you can push the limits, maybe another 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Don't give up, right? Learn everything, give this examination, IPS, right? So which one is better? But to go through that, 4 to 5 years, right, is extremely difficult, to face all the hurdles, challenges, to stay unemployed. right? So that is what I started with the example of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. It is during those challenges, somehow you have to stand very firm, right? Very strong. So that is the secret of the success, right? One though consistent efforts, right? And then there should be honesty in your efforts. Honesty, I mean, even when nobody is watching, right, you're putting your efforts, right? You're improving, you're putting your efforts, right? Even when nobody is asking about it, telling about it, watching, right? There is utmost honesty. So third one, the good intention, right? That is very important. I said already, the bigger purpose. If the intention is really good, somehow it will keep you, going. The intention is very selfish, right? So you compromise soon with something else, and then you get stuck there, right? The intention is very, very important. If the intention is pure, good, so you will go long way and you will sustain yourself and you will definitely crack. Now, coming to optionals, now you can think of optionals. You take your own time, take 1 week, 1 month. Having good optional is, crucial for success in this examination. Poor optional will ruin all your efforts. 5-6 years you put your effort, wrong optional is going to, there is nothing called poor optional. Wrong optional will actually ruin all of your chances. So some people, who have done BSc, CBZ, or PCM, they don't know about this examination. I think they come and tell, I want to take botany, zoology, right? Or maths or physics or chemistry, right? But they don't know. Poor souls, right? So even after doing MSc or PhD in these subjects, my personal recommendation, don't go for these options, right? One, not a single question is going to come from these subjects where you are going to put enormous efforts to remember these subjects in the examination, but this is not the criteria, right? Despite putting so much effort, the second thing is you're not going to get highest marks in those subjects. Even if you're an author of a botany book, which is referred by Harvard University specialist botanists, you are not going to get 250 and above in this UPSC examination, right? So we had a doctor, she cracked within one attempt, and she had done post graduation. She had authored a book, and she was teaching in a prestigious medical college. At the age of 30, she thought about cracking this exam, and she came. She said she wants to go with medical science. I said, no, every medical student goes with anthropology. Why don't you go with anthro? She said she had the confidence, author of a book, right? A professor in a reputed medical college, Karnataka's best medical college, and had done graduation from that. So she said, I will do, I'll easily score maybe 300 plus or 350 or something. So it was 2018 or 19, I think, when anthro students were getting 360 something, math students were getting 360 something. She ended up scoring 290 something, right? She should have easily scored 350 something, right? So it is not how good you were in some subjects. There are different parameters, different standards within UPSC to evaluate certain subjects. That always goes relative to the rest of the competition, right? How many are taking that subject, how good they are. There are extremes. One is extremely poor in the optional, one is extremely brilliant, right, in the same subject. And there is some kind of statistics is applied, scaling is done, and even though you have written brilliantly, the marks will come down, right? Because there are extremes in these optionals, especially when you take physics, chemistry and all, right? Because being unaware, some people take and write out of 500, they might have answered only for 100, 200, right? Even that marks is also considered, when you do the scaling. So the marks will drastically come down. Are you getting this point? So technical subjects, strict no. The third reason, every moment, every hour, every minute you invest in those subjects is a minute or hour taken away from GS subjects, where you are totally zero, right? You are totally zero there, like all GS, writing, learning, reading, understanding. There is a vast subject, art and culture to challenges of corruption, the last topic in ethics, right? There are like hundreds of thousands of subtopics. For every topic, you need to develop understanding, retain lots of knowledge, right? Apply it in your answers. It takes 1.5 years to understand and develop, even when you invest full time, right? So you invest 5 to 6 hours in these kind of optionals, and you double the years. If it is going to take 2 years, it is now 4 years, and add to that optional, which is not going to get you good marks. It will only extend, the trauma or anything, right? So, and there is something called the sunk cost fallacy. It's called cognitive bias. Once you take the wrong decision and invest your time, energy, resources into it, you feel like not going back, right? You always feel like I can still improve, right? You want to wait and say, no, I have come this far. I've taken coaching, I've bought books, I've made notes, right? I've understood the subject. You know that it is not working for you, but you stick with it. It happens with poor boyfriend, poor girlfriend, and poor optional here. And if you have the experience, right? So that sunk cost fallacy, you should not be victim to it. Take right decision in the very beginning, so that you don't, you know, lose precious time, right? Other thing can come back. Time, no, no way. So maybe quantum mechanics solve that problem, right? Maybe another 40, 50 years. Are you aware the recent development in quantum computing? Yeah. Anyone who is updated? What happened in the recent quantum computing development? When 2 days ago there was news from the Google company. Hmm? Hmm? Anyone? ಇನ್ನೂ ಶುರು ಮಾಡಿಲ್ಲ ಪೇಪರ್, ನಾಳೆಯಿಂದ ಶುರು ಮಾಡೋಣ ಅಂತನಾ? ಓರಿಯೆಂಟೇಷನ್ ಮುಗಿಲಿ. ಓಕೆ, ಅದನ್ನು ಮಾಡಿಸ್ತಿದ್ದೀವಿ. ಹೌ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್, ರೈಟ್? ದೇರ್ ಇಸ್ ಗೋಯಿಂಗ್ ಟು ಬಿ ಎ ಕ್ಲಾಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು, ಹೌ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್ ಪೇಪರ್. ಮೇ ಬಿ ಯು ಆರ್ ವೇಟಿಂಗ್ ಫಾರ್ ದಟ್. ಓಕೆ, ಅದಾದಮೇಲೆ ಹೌ ಟು ರೈಟ್ ಆನ್ಸರ್ಸ್, ಹೌ ಟು ರೀಡ್ ಬುಕ್ಸ್, ಹೌ ಟು ಮೇಕ್ ನೋಟ್ಸ್. ವಿಲ್ ಕಂಡಕ್ಟ್ ಆಲ್ ದೀಸ್ ಹೌ ಟು ಸೆಷನ್ಸ್ ಫಾರ್ ಯು, and then only the actual classes will begin. The mains result will come in another 15 days. Today is 24th. So in another 15 to 16 days, the mains result will come. Those who wrote mains this year. The people who have written mains, now it is already around 55 days, 50 days since they wrote their mains. So what do you think they are doing after writing mains? It has been 50 days since they wrote their main. They cracked prelims, and most of them knew that they were going to crack prelims, and they wrote mains. 50 days is over. So many of them came and met. Some of them are part of the core batch. They were not satisfied with the answers they wrote, so they want to improve. And some of them who were really confident that they wrote good exam, I recommended them to start interview preparation immediately. The early you start, better for you, because there is so much to prepare for the interview also. What happens is that this examination is seen mostly, like if you are total fresher, you are seeing only the prelims, right? That is the first mountain you want to conquer, right? Mains hardly people see. Once you get into lots of answer writing essay, then you will see this mountain also, the mains. For some reason, this interview mountain is invisible, right? You never think of conquering it. You never think of training to conquer that mountain, right? You never see it. Even people, those who write mains also do the same mistake. They wouldn't have imagined themselves, going to interview and giving UPSC interview. Only after getting the result after 15 days, they become very serious about the interview. Then they will start thinking about hobbies, right? Which hobby to put. Then they will start thinking about which interest to put. They have so many interests and hobbies. Right? They have to filter now, right? No, they have to invent. Hmm? Hardly few. There are exceptional individuals for whom we actually filter. They bring page full of. There are four important columns in the interview. The first one is achievements and scholarships, right? Second one is the sports column. Third one is the leadership. Fourth one is the hobbies and interests. In addition to your academics, the details of your parents, caste, community, everything, right? Income. So these are the four which are more individualistic. They are more related to your individuality, personality. The things that you have done going out of your comfort zone, right? They all represent the extra dimensions of your personality. So these people start thinking, okay, achievement, right? So they go back to the flashback, school, college, right? They don't know like what to put because many people don't have. Some people have, but they don't remember. Maybe like most of the people don't have. That is a reason, right? So it has scholarship. It can be NTSC scholarship, Olympiad scholarship, right? It can be Ministry of HRD might have given scholarship. Maybe there's something of Fulbright. Yeah, so Fulbright scholarship. I mean, this is to send you to Oxford University and get education, something like that. There are good scholarships, from the Infosys Foundation, and that there is this Vedanta company. They have scholarship, and there is this big university in Odisha. What is it? Kalinga? Yeah, Kalinga, and Teach for India scholarship. So many wonderful scholarships. And then there is Government of India scholarship, PM Narega scholarship. So they hire and they give you 1 lakh salary, and for 1 or 2 years they make you block development officers and then there are Naxal affected areas. And there are scholarships. So many wouldn't be aware of this, and you might have done good internships from reputed institutions like IAS or something like that. So they all add value, and the sports, right? So whatever sports you were part of during school, college days, whether you have won or not, if you are part of the sport, you can also mention. Then there is this leadership, starting with class representative to leading your university football team or any team in any competition, or you may be a student leader, right? Some kind of representative in some position. So then interest and hobbies. So most of the people usually put cooking, right? They invent. After coming to Bangalore for 2 years, cooking is one hobby. Some people acquire Maggie and chitrana, upittu, bad upittu, right? So tea, that is also there. And then they add continental dish, and South Indians, North Indian, veg, non-veg, and they use all the words, like their word cuisine. They had delicacies, and then second most important hobby, most of the people start practicing after 1 or 2 years into preparation is meditation. Yeah. Not as a hobby, but as a therapy mostly. But they also mention that, but they add transcendental meditation, and then tantric meditation, mindful meditation, heartful meditation. So there are variety of meditations like uh, the Sadhguru meditation. What is it? Isha. Isha meditation, inner engineering meditation, and Vipassana meditation. There is nothing wrong. You must actually meditate when you are normal. Start doing it. Start taking it as a therapy also, as a meditation. That is a good way to do it. But what happens when you mention only cooking, meditation, or jogging, running, gymming, walking, watching cricket, watching movies, watching Korean series, something like this? So the panel is now confused, like what to discuss. Everyone has put the same thing, most of them, right? So what can I discuss about meditation? I want to have really meaningful intellectual conversation with you. in the real interview. So meditation, you tell me, right? So they can still ask you questions, right? To basically any question from that section is intended to check how your passion about it, right? Your deeper understanding about it, right? And how and why you developed and how it has helped you. These HR kind of questions are not asked, but indirectly they are, probed. So for you people who will someday, maybe in another 2, 3, 4, 5 years, who is going to be in that position, it is better to start developing something like that from now itself. Interview is very much an integral part of this examination, not just an integral, it is the single most phase of this examination which will ultimately decide whether you want to be in IAS, IPS or some other services. Because the recent trend last 3 years is that if you're scoring less than 160 or 170, almost it is closed. IAS is closed for you. IAS or IPS is closed for you. Right? Because in mains also there is no scope for increasing marks. 4 years ago, 927 was the highest marks in mains overall. 3 years ago, it came down to 901. 2 years ago, it came down to 899. Last year, it has come down to 863. The total mains marks, optional plus all GS papers in mains. Right? Now, the interview can be 80 to 215 out of 275. 80 to 80 is extreme. Like once in 2, 3 years, we see 1 or 2 candidate. 120 is something common, the lowest marks. 120 to 215. 215 is the highest. Our own OGP student 4 years ago, Akshay Simha, so he got 215 that year. He was the only candidate who got. And then next year there was no one. Next year there were 2 people. Last year I think there were 3 people. So 215 is the highest. 20 minutes conversation, you are working out with marks equivalent to highest score in 2 GS papers. Right? For which you put 1, 2, 3 years of efforts. Economy, geography, polity, day in and out. You write so much, right? But interview, a 20, 30 minutes conversation, you have got more marks than highest marks in 2 GS papers, combined marks. So this is something because GS1 and GS3 it is difficult to score 100 plus in UPSC mains, right? So GS3 almost impossible to get 100 plus. GS1 some people have reached 100 or something. So combined together it is very very good score. So think from that perspective also. In your imagination you need to be there in the UPSC. It's called Dholpur House, the UPSC building. Right? It's a heritage building. So you have to imagine sitting, not the YouTube videos kind of, the interview stuff. The real interview, I think there is one video of real interview also. It's in black and white, you can search. That was shot in 60s or 70s, I think. And he went on to get All India rank 1. So that interview is there. So you can watch that actual UPSC interview. It is in black and white. So in your imagination, from being nothing to somebody who is going to give UPSC interview, walk out with 200 plus marks. So that is the personality you have to aspire to become. It is becoming, right? So confidence is something that you build, right? And then learning is constant. So whatever you are imperfect, I am imperfect. We are all trying to become something, right? It all depends on our ambitions and goals. But for you, there is a clear method. There is a clear-cut strategy, right? And you are not sailing in unknown waters, or ಗಾಳಿಲಿ ಗುಂಡು ಹೊಡೆಯೋದು ಅಂತಾರಲ್ಲ, ಕತ್ಲಲ್ಲಿ ಕೋಲ್ ಹಿಡ್ಕೊಂಡು ಹುಡುಕಾಡೋದು. No, you are not doing anything. There is a clear-cut strategy, right? It's a very difficult one, right? Very difficult, but sure shot, clear-cut, right? Certain way of cracking this examination that we have, in a way, I can claim we have mastered also, because I know what kind of essay gets the highest marks that year. Similarly, we know GS answers, ethics answer, interview. So when I start doing mock interviews, more or less whatever marks I predict in the mock interview, plus or minus 2, 3, or even sometimes 5 is the marks that candidates get. Right? We know 200 plus the kind of personality, 160. So if you're 160, we'll tell you again the hard path. There's no easy way out. How you can go on to get 190 or 200, but that is very difficult to do it in 1 month gap between your mains result and the beginning of the interview, right? So that transformation, if it happens now only, when you reach that stage, interview stage, it is all about 200 to 215, right? You may be there at 190, 180 level, so we can push you. So if you ignore the interview part, if you ignore the answer writing part, see, the answer writing part also, in addition to answer writing, general writing. My recommendation is that do answer writing and every day write something about whatever interests you. It can be current affair, it can be your own experience, something that is happening in your life, others life. So try to write creatively something. So this writing has immense implication for your in interview performance also. The thinking is going to be sharp, quick. You will be able to organize your ideas really very well. Organizing means prioritizing the most important point to the least important. You will know which is the least important, which one to omit, which one to convey. It has to happen within the span of 30 to 40 seconds in the real interview, right? So if you prepare in this manner from today onwards, so everything is going to be organic, right? Stress free, and we'll all become IAS officers or maybe IPS. It's a possibility, right? So all it takes is annihilation of your self doubt, right? Total destruction of your old habits, whatever old habits you have come with currently, right? Going and just taking rest, sleeping, taking it lightly, wasting time on some unproductive things, right? See, your YouTube timeline should be the first video is about artificial intelligence, second video is about some lecture on neuroscience in Harvard University, the third video is about, right, in very good debate on maybe like caste census or something, right? The fourth video in your timeline, when you open your YouTube app currently, it should not be about darshan, should not be about Big Boss, should not be about some, right? There is nothing wrong in watching entertainment, right? I watch, right? My family watches, no one then. But again, the large part of the time, in a week or in a year is also spent in learning something new, based on curiosity. Someday I want to know more about quantum computing. I just keep digging about it. Someday I want to know more about Egyptian civilization. I keep digging about it. Right. So there should be diversity in your YouTube timeline. Similarly, in your Instagram also. There are all world's best publishers: New York Times, BBC, right? Guardian, Washington Post, right? You all the best. The Hindu. They give a small, instructive, informational videos even in Instagram shorts. So you can keep watching them in your free time. You can listen to good podcasts, right? So being in this zone constantly will help you. Will actually make you feel better, right? That negativity will not be there in you, right? Even when you are thinking about you know something productive, something beautiful, something constructive, right? So recently, have you seen AI glasses? I heard about AI glasses. Hmm? AI glasses, artificial intelligence glasses. ಯಾರು ಪ್ರೊಡ್ಯೂಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ, ಯಾರು ರಿಲೀಸ್ ಮಾಡಿದ್ದಾರೆ? ರೀಸೆಂಟ್ಲಿ ಇಟ್ ವಾಸ್ ಇನ್ ನ್ಯೂಸ್. AI glasses. ಟೆಸ್ಲಾ ಅಲ್ಲ. Who said Meta? Good, very good. Meta, great. Facebook, Mark Zuckerberg. So AI glasses andre like she is wearing glasses. Now she can know about me completely. My ಇದು ನೋಡಿದ್ದೀರಾ ಮಿಷನ್ ಇಂಪಾಸಿಬಲ್ ಯಾರಾದ್ರು? ಫಸ್ಟ್ MI1 ಟಾಮ್ ಕ್ರೂಸ್. He wears a glass, he can see everything, right? Ange. It's a reality, it's not science fiction. So that glass you can read, you can open Wikipedia, right? Now if you're curious about which brand this mic, you can just zoom here, read about it. If you want to know about me, in front of you, the Facebook or Twitter will open about me. You can read, right? You can watch videos, you can talk, listen to music, communicate, right? And I believe it is going to replace smartphones maybe in another 5 10 years. It's all convenient. You just wear, right, on the go. But the purpose is not to make your life easy. It is to help AI learn better about the physical world. Alva? It's a manipulation. I recently tweeted about it. AI challenge now it wants to understand humans, learn about humans. Right? Earlier we used to learn from machines, now the machines want to learn about us and from us. So curious about it because we are all part of that. Tomorrow you're going to be an IAS. Somebody wears that AI glass and come to your office. Right? So how is going to be your interaction with that individual? Right. In the real world, you may wear and go and make use of that for productive work. So if you're not curious about these technologies, curious about how these are evolving and what is going to be the future implications, and if you're only stuck with the routine, predictable stuff, right, you are not going to be useful and valuable and also not going to crack this exam. Because constantly UPSC tests that also, how advanced is your thinking, how updated you are, how curious you are, right? What is your understanding of the future implications of what is happening today, right? Ability to think, extrapolate. So these are all very important. So we are here to guide you, don't worry. We have excellent faculties and all are committed, very deep in their teaching, understanding, and they're all analytical minds. And ವಿಶ್ ಯು ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್ ಅಷ್ಟೇ ನಿಮ್ಗೇನಿಲ್ಲ. ಸೊ ಒಳ್ಳೇದಾಗಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆಲ್ಲ. ಏನಾದ್ರು ಡೌಟ್ ಇತ್ತು ಅಂದರೆ ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಆಸ್ಕ್. ಸೊ ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಐ ಥಿಂಕ್ ಐ ಆಮ್ ಕ್ಲಿಯರ್, ಡೋಂಟ್ ಗೋ ವಿತ್ ಟೆಕ್ನಿಕಲ್. ಯು ಕ್ಯಾನ್ ಕಮ್ ಅಂಡ್ ಟಾಕ್ ಟು ಅಸ್ ಇಂಡಿವಿಜುವಲಿ ಯಾವುದು ಬೆಟರ್ ಆಪ್ಷನಲ್ ಅಂತ. ಅಟ್ ಎವ್ರಿ ಸ್ಟೆಪ್ ಆಫ್ ಯುವರ್ ಪ್ರಿಪರೇಷನ್ ವಿ ಆರ್ ಹಿಯರ್ ಟು ಗೈಡ್ ಯು. ಆಲ್ ದ ಬೆಸ್ಟ್. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು. ಭಾಷಣ ಮಾಡಿ. ಥ್ಯಾಂಕ್ ಯು.